For almost 30 years, we've been taught that this is what a Pokemon looks like. But then Pokemon introduced something new.
The Ultra Beast.
They looked like Pokemon, they could be caught like Pokemon, and they could battle like Pokemon, and yet the Pokemon world doesn't simply classify them as Pokemon. And today, I will prove to you why the Ultra Beasts are not Pokemon. Right out of the gate, one of the biggest and most obvious points of discussion is the way the Ultra Beasts look. We could easily write them off as not being Pokemon based on their looks, but I think that would be incredibly unfair. There are many Pokemon that are just as weird, if not weirder looking than the Ultra Beasts. I could point to examples like Bronzong, the Steel Psychic type that basically looks like a big bell. Spiritomb, the Ghost Dark type that is known as the Forbidden Pokemon. This thing looks weird. Garbodor is just a straight living pile of trash, and even Sigilyph, the Psychic Flying type known as the Avianoid Pokemon. Dude, I don't even know what I am looking at here. Don't get me wrong, the Ultra Beasts are still strangely designed Pokemon, but that isn't enough to segregate them. What does separate them from the crowd though are their origins and where the Ultra Beasts come from. The Ultra Beasts are a mysterious extra-dimensional set of creatures that are not from this world. They hail from an interdimensional rift known as Ultra Space. This dimension has a bridge between many alternate worlds. It is theorized to be where the Light Trio may have come from, and it houses many unique homeworlds, with the habitat of the Ultra Beasts being one of them. This dimension isn't easily accessible though, as it can only be visited by the likes of a very strange phenomenon known as the Ultra Wormhole. These wormholes are irregular occurrences in nature, but they can also be opened artificially by the legendary Cosmog. One thing is for certain though, once one is opened, an Ultra Beast is guaranteed to come through, which is an unpleasant fact for many that may encounter them. Now this isn't at all the Ultra Beast's fault. They are just as confused as anyone else who encounters these Ultra Wormholes, but instead of being scared when they jump through, they are especially combative. Makes sense, a wild creature thrown into a foreign environment, 9 out of 10 times is gonna lash out. Being from another dimension still doesn't inherently make something not a Pokemon though. There are many otherworldly beings that classify as pocket monsters, like Deoxys, the living mutation of a space virus, Eternatus, the 20,000-year-old dragon that descended from deep space, Clefable, the sweet fairy moon Pokemon, and even the Light Trio from Sun and Moon are theorized to have come from Ultra Space itself. Now, that very Ultra Space origin didn't make the Light Trio any different from Pikachu or Rattata, but it did affect the Ultra Beasts in a different way. Once they exit the Ultra Wormholes, these Ultra Beasts become inherently drawn to those who also interacted with these strange portals. That distinct energy residue that's left over from traveling through these portals confuses them into thinking that these people are their ways home, which just adds more fuel to their very aggressive fire. However, this wormhole is a key component in what makes this group so unique, as it is responsible for their shared ability known as Beast Boost. This ability is created when they absorb the aura that comes from their Ultra Wormhole travel. This therefore boosts the highest stat of that unique Ultra Beast after each takedown, which makes them lethal momentum heavy battlers in game. With this information, one could say that they are looking less like a collection of alien Pokemon and more like a whole separate branch of life. So it's pretty well reinforced that Ultra Beasts are in a different category than anything else in the Pokemon world. But how does that explain this? You see, an Ultra Beast can still be captured by a Pokeball, just like any other Pokemon. But because of their extraterrestrial nature, they have a lower catch rate than the average pocket monster. But that doesn't stop them from being caught. Not one bit. I believe that the fundamental biology of an Ultra Beast is similar enough to a regular Pokemon for a Pokeball to work on one. I guess with this evidence, it should be case closed. Pokeballs work on them, so they're Pokemon. However, the Aether Foundation gave us a whole different perspective. In an effort to capture the aliens more effectively, they were able to devise something that was specialized in subjugating the Ultra Beast, which is known as the Beast Ball. Okay, cool, a Pokeball designed for a certain Pokemon, nothing particularly special. But here's the kicker. In the description of the Beast Ball from Scarlet and Violet and also Legends ZA, it describes it as this: a somewhat different Pokeball that is not very effective catching Pokemon. This is a very important statement because the Beast Ball does truly have a low catch rate for the natural born Pokemon, but it has an increased catch rate for the Ultra Beast. It is inherently perfect for our alien visitors, but what I want to highlight is that the item definition has drawn a line between these two creatures. It catches this and struggles to catch that. So I can easily assume that this thing might not be a Pokemon. This all goes even further when Pokemon breeding comes into play. Because of their unique biologies, an Ultra Beast is unable to breed with any other Pokemon. Now there are exceptions to the breeding rule, since a chosen few Pokemon cannot do this same breeding, and those are of course legendary Pokemon. None of these legitimate demigods can have an offspring. However, the Ultra Beasts aren't even classified as legendaries, so why can't they breed with any of the other 1025 Pokemon? So this further doubles down that biologically, these are simply not normal creatures. So I ask you again, are the Ultra Beasts Pokemon? Well, they are extra dimensional. They are biologically distinct. They require special technology to facilitate their capture. And yet, their compatibility with Pokemon technology makes them trainable monsters. They are not Pokemon that happen to come from Ultra Space. They are Ultra Space creatures that happen to be compatible with Pokemon World's systems. And that might be even more interesting.